Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video. Now today I want to talk about a lot of the comments that I receive on the videos, which are all fantastic, and I enjoy replying to every one of them, or I try to reply to every one of them. But there's a couple of common themes in a lot of the comments and a lot of the questions that I want to explore. And I want to also give you a background to how I progressed within this KDP low content publishing business, to give you a more realistic view of what's involved and what you can expect. Now I get questions along the lines of, give me a profitable niche, give me the exact keywords, give me the title or subtitles for this book. And also, a very common one is, I've created 10 books a month ago, I've not made any sales, what's wrong? And that's impossible to answer because there are many factors involved in selling these types of books, and I've done videos, I'll leave the link above, about the different factors that are involved when selling these books, from the keywords to what you put in the title, subtitle, the interiors and the cover especially. And I could go ahead and give you the exact niche that you want, the exact keywords, write your title for you, write your subtitles, your description, give you the keywords to put in the 7 keyword boxes, but you wouldn't have the same cover that I'd produce, obviously, because you want to produce something different. You couldn't have all these books looking the same. So still, you might not make sales, but there is a learning process to this whole business. But basically the two common themes with the questions I get are, people want easy shortcuts so they can start making sales straight away, which I completely understand. With any sort of business, whether it's online or a conventional offline business, you obviously want to make money as soon as possible. I get that. But because this is an online business, people expect it to be free, to be easy, not take up much time, and to have that lovely cash rolling in with very little work. But it doesn't happen like that, not at all, especially not in this line of business. And the other common theme is that fear of failure. I'm finding that a lot of people have that fear of pulling the trigger, of actually just getting the book out there. And the questions I get, it's obvious that some people obsess over the right keywords. I don't want to use that keyword, I want to use the perfect keyword in my title, the perfect keywords in my 7 keyword boxes or in the subtitles, because I've got to maximize everything to make that one sale on that one book. But again, the chances of you making a sale, particularly if you're starting out, are probably pretty slim, because this business is about learning. Now let me give you just a little history of what happened with me, my experience. Now I started, I think it was around August 2018, and I started with blank lined journals, and I bought a course published by Kelly Publish, who's a popular YouTuber in this particular niche. And at that time, for I think it was only a short time actually, she sold this course, and I bought it, $99, watched it all, and went ahead and started producing these blank line journals. And the niches I was going for were the nice patterned covers, unicorns, mermaids, sharks, dogs, pets, pugs. These are very common niches, and I was creating all different types of patterns around these niches, and then I'd create this big spreadsheet. Down one column I'd have all the different patterns I could produce, and across the top I'd have all the different target audiences. So I'd have mum, dad, grandmother, grandfather, kids, teachers, school, all on the top. So I'd create a unicorn theme book aimed at mum, aimed at grandma, aimed at sister, aimed at a teacher. And I went through, and it was taking age, and I produced about, over a period of about say 4 months, 450 books. And out of those books I was probably maximum making about $20 in a month. Majority weren't selling. And I wasn't studying the keywords at all. I was, just making up like girls unicorn notebook, and they weren't selling. But I was making a couple of sales, but I knew this could work because I was looking at other people's books on Amazon and I could tell that they were making sales. So I knew that if I was to persist, eventually I would start to make sales. And then it was around November 18, I suddenly had this idea that came to me. Now, I've been involved in sports for most of my life, and my son is also a national level tennis player, so he's been involved himself in sports. And it was an area I knew well. And it suddenly occurred to me. I knew what the needs were of a lot of sports people in terms of things like journals, logbooks. I knew what they needed in terms of ways to record their conditioning programs, their strength programs, what their nutrition was, their water intake was, a way to record this, a way to record their competition results. And so I started to produce notebooks around those themes and create some interiors. Now, I couldn't find any interiors to buy around these niches, and there were specific areas that I knew athletes and sports people would want in the interior. I knew the details that they would want to be recording, so I created interiors around that. And that's an important point, because most people have an interest in some area. It might be within a job that they do, it might be within a sport or a hobby, and most people will have an area that they're familiar with. And that's what I'd probably advise initially, is look at what you know about. And it's like creating a YouTube channel. It's often advisable to create a channel around something you know, you enjoy, it's a hobby, or you're an expert in something that you can talk about. Well, it's similar in these types of notebooks. You could create books around an area that you know about, because you know the wants, demands of people in that particular niche. So I did that, and within a few days I started to make sales. And so I expanded the number of books I produced. I did a bit of research on what were the requirements in different sporting areas, and I started to produce these sporting related notebooks and logbooks and journals, not just for sports people but also for coaches. And sales started to come in regularly. And so I did that in November. It was about mid-November, and by the end of December, admittedly the Christmas holiday period, that was my first month, I made $450, and that was the incentive. That's all I needed then to carry on, because I knew definitely this would work. And over the next months I continued to make similar amount each month, but the books were selling, which was the main thing. And then towards the middle of last year, I bought a subscription to Tangent Templates, and I looked at all the interiors that were available, and I picked one interior and started to do some research on Amazon. I looked at how the books were selling, the number of books, because you can estimate that from the bestsellers rank. I've shown you how to do that in many videos. And I looked at the keywords they were using in the titles and subtitles. And I started to do a bit of keyword research myself, using the search bar, again, as I've done in lots of my other videos, particularly on the activity books. And I also looked at the designs that were selling. And I thought, okay, I'll take those design elements and I'll use them and create a book using one of these Tangent Template interiors. And I think in that particular niche, I produced about 5 books. And one of them, and it was actually the first one I produced out of those 5, and it wasn't particularly keyword optimized, but I used some keywords that I could see other people were using in their titles and subtitles, and I put them together into something original. That started to sell more than the others. And over the months, it sold more and more and more, until now it's my best-selling book. And in June, I made over $1,000 on that one book alone. Now, I did calculate how much that book has made over the last 12 months. Can't remember the exact figure, but I think it's somewhere in the region of $6,000 to $8,000. Now, as that particular book with that style of cover, which looked different than all the other books, it had a general theme, similar, but was different enough to stand out, I then used that design and I applied it to lots of other books mainly business logbooks. And again, they started to sell. And you may have heard of the old 80-20 rule. Well, this applies to this business. And I would say 20% of my books sell, probably 80% don't. And even out of those 20% of books that do sell, probably only 20% of those produce most of my monthly profits. But what am I trying to tell you here? I'm trying to tell you that you're probably going to fail at the start. So if you tell me you produced 10 books, not made any sales, what's wrong? One, I can't tell you. But two, I'd be saying, well, you're not even producing anywhere near the number you need to produce to learn. And you need to go through these failures. And it's a learning process. I mean, it took me probably about almost a year to go from starting to then learning more about the type of covers that sell, the type of keywords to use. And yes, there is a science to this, and I try and teach you that science in my videos, but this is also a creative endeavour. And like many creative endeavours, you need to be prepared to fail, and fail frequently, because that's how you learn. But the beauty of this business is you can produce these books virtually for free. So it's not costing you anything to fail except your time, and yes, your time is valuable, but you're not having to invest, say, $1,000 a book and then publish it and then pray that you make your money back. And that's what I don't get. These books, you can create them for very little money, almost. Yeah, you can create them for free if you produce the covers yourself, the interiors yourself. So you've got that opportunity to create and fail and learn. And over that time period, it's almost like doing an apprenticeship. You'll come across something that works, a design that works, and it'll be like a light bulb moment. You go, of course, that's what it's all about. And similar in the merch business. And I didn't get to that stage. I didn't do it for long enough to get to that stage. And I used to see people that were producing these t-shirts, making sales, and I was just like, God, I wish I knew the secret. But the secret was, there was no secret. It's just that they'd been producing more and more shirts, realised what sells, and so were able to then go down that pathway of knowing what sells, how to find out what sells, find out what people want and give it to them. And that's what this business is about, finding out what people want and just giving it to them. Doesn't have to be fancy. But it's so cheap, it's free to do. So you can fail, and fail often, and that's the only way you're going to learn. So you need to get rid of this fear of failure. You need to have more of an expectation that you might produce 100, 200, 300 books and make very few sales, even over a period of 3, 4, 5 months. And if that's something you couldn't handle and you're needing to make profits tomorrow and make profits fast, then this is probably not the business you should be in, nor any other print-on-demand business, really. And in fact, most online businesses that I've done or come across, those that are making the proper money, the serious money, or the steady incomes, have gone through that period of learning what to do. Yes, there are some things where you may find a little a loophole in the system and you can make easy money quickly, but that doesn't last. And I sometimes feel that's what people want in this business, is to find that loophole, that secret source, if you like, whereby it unlocks the door to massive profits quickly. Well, I don't think that's possible. You've got to be prepared to put in that long-term work, put it in consistently, and be prepared to fail and realise that initially your books may not sell that well. But I guarantee that if you do commit to this and you do produce regularly and learn, so spending time on Amazon.com and looking at the books that sell, what do the covers look like, how are they structuring their titles, their sentences, creating a spreadsheet, or I have a Microsoft To Do app, and as I see books that sell or a niche I haven't thought about, I write it there. And now I've got this niche that would probably, I've got this list of niches that would probably last me months, if not years, to work through completely. So that's it. I hope that gives you the incentive and a bit of motivation to really work on this and to start producing, start pulling the trigger on those books, start publishing, get them out there. Realistically, it's free and you can learn this. And once you get that, and once you start making sales, then you'll start to make more and more and you'll start to build a business. But don't expect this to occur overnight. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If not, give it a thumbs down. And also hit that subscribe button and also smash that notification bell to receive notifications when I produce more videos like this. And until next time, goodbye.